And today we'll do Hindu analysis of 26th June 2025. Obviously, today is 26th June 2025, so we'll not do Hindu analysis of 26th June 2023. That's but obvious. But also one more thing, if you people face any audio video issue, like there is some interruption in voice or any such issue, you can always write it in the comment section that I'm not properly audible. I will be visible, but there can be some sound issues. There can be, I'm not saying there will be. If there is some sound issues, if you face some sound issues, write it in the comment section, we will get it corrected. But it's one in a 20th occurrence kind of a thing. Cool. So let's start today's Hindu analysis without wasting any time. Today, there are certain days when Hindus are very, newspaper are very dense. So today's Hindu was actually dense. There are so many things important from UPSC perspective. Some days, the days are like you have to find articles. But today, there were so many articles that we have to be very selective that yes, these are the articles we are going with. So good morning, Shriparna. Good morning, Ravi. Good morning, Rishi. Good morning, Satyajit. This is the first article of the day on page number 1. GST Council set to discuss having fewer items in 12% slab. So there are certain terms here. There are certain words also. Input tax credit. What is input tax credit? We have to understand. GST, even if you see mains, UPSC mains question, pre-questions, so many questions have been asked on GST and GST Council. And then there are certain terms which most of the people don't know about. Like when we talk about GST Council, in that we say, union has 33% weightage, states have 67% weightage. Overall, they need 75% votes for things to go through or for a proper consensus to arrive. How does that work? We have to understand the intricacies of all these things and we will do that. So GST Council set to discuss having fewer items in 12% slab. This particular GST Council, and I have also made a video earlier. Good morning, Amal, Mamta, and everyone else. So I have also made a video earlier, why is article 279A in news? You can watch that video to gain more conceptual clarity. Thank you, Bhaiya. So again, let's talk about this. So GST Council, there are different tax slabs under GST, 0%, 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. So now what they are thinking, they will be meeting in July. Ideally, GST Council should meet quarterly, every 3 months, but they have not met for a very long period now. So we'll see why that has happened. So 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. These are the tax slab. And the meeting which is supposed to happen next month, they are thinking about reducing or eliminating this 12% slab. Author is saying that the chances of 12% slab being completely eliminated is next to nil. What will happen is some of the goods will be transferred from 12% slab to 5% slab, or some of the goods will be transferred from 18% to 12% or both. Cool. Now there are issues with this also. If this thing happens, transfer happens, let's say from 12% slab to 5% or 18% to 12%. In that scenario, there is something known as input tax credit. Input tax credit. So the items which are there in 12% slab, they enjoy input tax credit. Let's say we shift them to 5% slab. In that scenario, they will not enjoy, or some of them will not enjoy input tax credit. Now, we have to understand what is the basic meaning of input tax credit. If you know it, you can post it in the comment section. Otherwise, I will tell you. So the basic premise of input tax credit is what? Let's say I have to produce some output. For that, I have to buy some input. Those input are raw materials. So when I'm buying some raw material, let's say I paid 100 rupees GST on that particular raw material. Now, when I produce the output, when I produce the final good, then let's say I am supposed to pay rupees 150, but since I have already paid 100 rupees GST on input raw materials, so in that scenario what will happen? I will only pay 150 minus 100, that is rupees 50. This is input tax credit. So I got a rebate of 100 rupees because 100 rupees GST I have already paid on raw materials, that is the input. That thing, this input tax credit is not applicable on many or most of the goods which are under 5% tax slab. Hope you're understanding this whole thing. So there are certain conundrums which you have to understand. Cool. So next GST Council meeting expected to be held in July 2025. Do remember the key things. GST Council supposed to meet every 3 months quarterly, but they have not met from December 2024. So it's approximately 7 months. It will be 7 months in July. Delay due to disagreement over meeting location. Where they will meet, Where should I meet you? Okay, so they are, again, let's focus on the main agenda. The council will deliberate. We have discussed. This is the main agenda. 12% GST slab. See, when you talk about GST, when you talk about goods and services tax, it's an indirect tax and it tried to fulfill the aim of one nation, one tax. Input tax is not clear, sir. It will be clear. Don't worry. I will show you this thing again. Good morning, senorita. So again, I will show you, Sriparna. You will understand what is input tax credit. First of all, let's hear me out. So 12% GST slab. You see, 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. We talk about one nation, one tax. We have multiple tax slab, and India is one of the very few countries which has so many tax slabs under GST, under a unified indirect tax. So we want to reduce tax slab, and that is why we are talking about it. The other justification why we have so many multiple GST tax slab is you cannot tax sandal and aeroplane at the same rate. It doesn't make any sense, right? So council will deliberate on minimizing or eliminating, and we are discussing that elimination is a tough task. They will minimize 12% GST slab, and then slowly and gradually they will do away with this 12% GST slab. Cool, sir. And that is what they are discussing. Eliminating 12% slab would leave GST rate at 0, 5, 18, 28 excluding. Now there is a question mark here. Why there is a question mark? Because these are not the only taxes which are there in the GST slab. Apart from that, there are certain cess which are applied on diamonds, etc. So there are some exceptions. Excluding that exception, these are the tax slab which we have: 0, 5, 18, 28 and 12 also. But we are thinking about doing away with this 12% slab. I will repeat, Sriparna, don't worry. You will see it again. You will see the example which I just gave you. Likely approach to 12% slab, things will be moved from 12 to 5 or 18 to 12. We slowly want to reduce item under 12% slab. Now what is the issue here which Sriparna is asking? The issue of input tax credit. I have just told you what happens in input tax credit. Let's say you are a manufacturer, you purchase raw materials. In that particular raw material, you have to pay a GST of rupees 100. So this you paid on input. Now you have produced output, you have produced the final good. Now you have to pay GST rupees 150. But since you have already paid GST 100 rupees on input, so you have to only pay remaining 50 rupees. When you are selling your output. So this is input tax credit. You got the input tax credit of 100 rupees because you have already given that GST at the time of input. Hope you understood, Sriparna, what we just discussed. Good morning. Elvarshan, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Did you understand this, Sriparna? So see this, input tax credit means reducing the tax you have already paid on input. This is what I'm talking about. You purchase raw materials, paid 1000 as GST, and other people also. If this is very important. I have seen 99% of the people who are reading GST, or maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, they don't know, they just mug it up, input tax credit. You have to understand this input tax credit, what is the basic meaning. So see, 1000 GST you paid on input, now you are selling your output, you have to pay 1500, but in reality you will only pay the remaining 500 because you have already paid 1000 rupees on GST. Very good. Minimizing tax 12% means 18% tax will be minimizing to 80. Yes, sir. Yes, Mamta. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to minimize goods which are under 12% tax slab. That we can do by two ways. We can transfer goods from 12% to 5%, or we can transfer goods from 18% to 12%. So these are two ways we are thinking about it. Fine, sir. Now this is the problem that 12%. So see, understand one thing. What has happened here? On 12% you get input tax credit. On 5% you don't get input tax credit. So if you apply the same logic here, on 5% I paid 100 rupees as GST on input raw materials, but I will not get that back when I'm selling the output. So many people are saying that even like what will happen now, since many goods will be transferred from 12% to 5%, so the prices of the goods under 5% will increase, which earlier used to enjoy input tax credit, because they will now not enjoy input tax credit, leading to increase in prices. So let's see how government deals with this whole phenomena. This is actually a very, very tricky phenomena. So items taxed at 12% or more usually follow full input tax credit. Items moved to may not. That's what we have discussed. This can hurt manufacturers because they will lose credit. Now the price of the good will be more because they have to pay the full tax on input as well as output, full GST. It might increase the actual cost. Again, this whole thing is very important. This is very conceptual. If you did not get it, please tell me right now. These conceptual clarities, like these things actually matter. And then you don't have to mug it up. Now, meeting frequency issue. GST Council, as we have discussed, they are supposed to meet every quarter. Good morning, Sanjana. But they have not met from last 6 months. And this is not good. They should meet more, because the more you meet, the more you love each other. So GST Council, Goods and Services Tax, constitutional body under Article 279A. As I have told you earlier, I have already made a separate video on like why is Article 279A in news. You can read that. Important things from exam perspective is these things you see here. 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. They can ask you, GST Council came via which particular Constitutional Amendment Act. Amendments, anyway, very important from GS mains paper 2 perspective. Please explain again. Oh my God. So what I am saying, Mamta, is that because the goods which are there under 5% tax slab, they are, not eligible. Most of them are not eligible for input tax credit. So what will happen? Their cost of production will increase. So there is a chance that prices of those goods will increase because they have to pay GST twice, both at input side as well as output side. Again, you can rewind the video, you will understand. It's not a rocket science. I have given you the conceptual clarity. If you watch it again, you will understand each and everything. Cool, sir. So now the members of GST Council, please again pay attention. This whole slide contains so many questions from pre and mains perspective. From mains perspective, they can ask you about the whole structure of GST Council, etc., etc. From pre perspective, chairperson. Sometimes they will give you, Prime Minister is the chairperson of GST Council. You will feel like, oh my God, GST Council is so important. So maybe PM is. No, Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am. And then members of state, you can see a Finance Minister of States and then Finance Minister of Union Territories, which has legislature. So this is the composition, and then the main part, voting part, which we have discussed. Voting part, 75% vote needed for anything to pass. Now here the weightage is like center has 33% weightage, states have 67% weightage. These are all factual numbers. Just like we have talked about input tax credit and their utility and how it works, you also have to understand this whole thing, how this voting system works. Let me tell you and give you an example. Let's say there are 30 people, one finance minister, and then 29 representative from states. So total vote here is 30 votes. Okay, now if something has to pass, so they have taken a decision, GST Council, if that particular decision has to go through, has to pass finally, they need 75% of 30, which translates to approximately 22 point something. So they need 23 votes. So what we have just discussed, finance minister 1%, 29 representative from states, total 30 votes. If this whole thing, they are taking a decision, it has to pass through, it requires 75% voting. So 23 votes has to be given. Now, if we talk about weightage, union finance minister or center has 33% weightage. That means from this 30 votes, 10 votes belong to center. You have to take out 33% of these 30 votes. And for states, 20 votes. So here again, hope you understood it. I will again show you this. So because center has 33% weightage, so out of 30 votes, they have 10 votes, states have remaining 20 votes. How many votes we need for things to pass through? 23. So even if center unanimously take a decision that we want this thing to happen, it will not happen. They have only 10 votes and we require 23. Even if states unanimously take a decision, it will not happen because they have only 20 votes and we need 23. So state and center, they have to come together, and that's how they promote cooperative federalism. And this is the basic concept you have to understand. What are the functions? They will decide GST rate, blah, blah, blah. You can read this. Now, this is the part which is very important. Input tax credit, you understood the basic concept behind it, 12% versus 5% or 5% versus 12%. Now, this also requires conceptual clarity. 75% approval, central government 1/3 votes, state government 2/3 votes. And I have just given you an example how this whole thing pans out. Have a look at this. This is what we have discussed. 30 members present. Why there is no ITC for 5%? Because anyway 5% tax rate is very low, Amal. So, if we give input tax credit, it doesn't make any sense. 12% is too much tax, So we want to give some relief to manufacturer. So there was one justification given by government that 5% is anyway too low. But now when you are transferring goods from 12% to 5%, so earlier the goods which used to enjoy input tax credit, their prices will increase. That is what the author is saying. Yesterday, you also asked one question. I think you only asked it, right? That why Chhattisgarh or I think Himachal government, they had the police bill, why they were passing it, public servant bill. So if you see that presidential assent thing also, president took it with herself for almost 5-6 months. So maybe they were going through things and finally they decided that, okay, let's pass it. So again, these are good questions. You people should ask these questions. Cool, sir. People, are you understanding this? We have just discussed this whole thing. Is it clear? If it is clear, then I will go through. Please have a look at this. GST is one of the most important topics you will ever read in your whole UPSC preparation. Always remains in news some way or the other. Important from pre-mains interview, every perspective. So you need to have conceptual clarity. Is this thing clear? Chepandis. Mamta, Sanjana, Priya, Shriparna, Elavarshan and other people. Have to go through again though. Yes, do go through it. Don't worry about it. You will understand each and everything. It's like, but yes, these are tricky things. Now let's solve some PYQs and MCQs based on GST. This is the first question on GST. 30 members, Ravi. 30. One center representative and 29 representatives from state. So PYQ1 asked by UPSC in 2017. What is the most likely advantages of implementing goods and services tax? Yeah, cool. If you have any issues, you can ask me tomorrow, Mamta. Good morning, Madhvi. So it will replace multiple tax collected by multiple authorities, will thus create a single market. It will drastically reduce current account deficit. It will enormously increase the growth and size of India, will enable it to overtake. Please, sir and ma'am, do remember one thing. Eliminate extreme statement. GST, one nation, one tax, although we have multiple tax slabs. And like the basic aim is earlier, and this is a destination-based tax. And earlier what used to happen in Maharashtra, they had their own tax mechanism. In Gujarat, they had their own. And it created problems for different companies, indigenous and foreign companies. To do away with all those issues, we had this GST, one nation, one tax. So again, second statement drastically reduced, extreme statement eliminated. Now you're left with A and C. You have to just check the third one. Enormously increase the growth and size. Maybe it will increase. How much enormously, I don't know. We'll enable it to overtake China. Have we ever discussed about this thing? It's not like if we have to overtake China, we have to do a lot of stuff. GST is one of them. So again, this is an extreme statement. If you look at the wordings and how UPSC has framed it. So eliminate third also. And you're left with A, one only, as stated by Shriparna, Ravi, Mamta, Jivayan, Amal, Rishi, Bimal, Alvasaran, Shashikala, Vin. Very good. MCQ2. So that was a PYQ. This is second question of the day, and this is an MCQ. GST Council, statements related to GST Council. It is a constitutional body established under Article 279A. The voting power of central government in the council is equal to that of all states combined. The council is mandated to meet at least once every 6 months. Which of the statement given above is or are correct? Mamta has given the answer. So yes, it is a constitutional body established under Article 279A. So first statement is correct. If first is correct, just eliminate, first is correct, right? So eliminate C option. You're left with ABD. Always do this. Make it a habit of solving question like this. Voting power of central government equal to that of state. Central government voting power is 33%. That's what we were discussing. States combined have 67%, you know. So second statement is wrong. If second is wrong, you're left with A and D. You have to check third one. Council is mandated to meet at least once every 6 months. So not 6 months, bro. Quarterly. That's what we were discussing again earlier. Once every 3 months. But this time they have not met for more than 6 months because they have not decided the location. Where do you want to meet? At Sukna Lake? No. Sukna Lake is not nice. So no, that is not the actual talk which they are having. But yes, the location is an issue here. So third is wrong. 3 months, not 6 months. So the answer is A, one only. Who stated it? Amal, Mamta tried it, Priya, Ravi, Jivayan. Good morning, Mithun, Vin, Rishi and Bimal. Very good. Cool. And yes, sir, please understand one thing. You people, like, it's all a game of demand and supply. If you people like my Hindu analysis and other videos, you have to show it. Like, share, subscribe. Because, you know, if you don't like it enough, maybe I'll be doing something else. So your like, share, subscribe, everything matters. Comments matter. You don't understand it, but I have to reiterate it now. If you feel like I'm contributing anything to your knowledge, I'm adding to your knowledge base, show it. And these are the ways of showing it. Spread it. Don't feel like, no, I don't want to share this Hindu analysis. Other people will be benefited by it. No. If you don't share it enough, maybe you will not see me enough. So hope you understand where I'm going with this. So like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want to do. Spread it as far as possible. This is for your own good. So page number 4. Because we have a lot of work and we have to choose work. Hindu is a work assigned to me. And if this thing does not pan out the way we want it to pan out, then I'll be assigned some other work. So again, it's totally up to you people whether you'll be seeing me more in Hindu analysis or not. Cool. So let's come to the second article of the day, and that is, where were we? So that is page number 4. Chhattisgarh seeks center's aid as forest department stalls CFR management plan. Now we'll talk about this issue. This issue will go on for a longer period, but let's try to understand the basic gist behind this whole issue. What this issue is all about, like what is the basic premise? Two entities are fighting. Earlier also in the previous Hindu analysis, we have talked about Forest Rights Act. We have talked about different things. We have talked about FRA cells, etc. if you go back to previous Hindu analysis. So here the tussle is between Forest Department and State Government of Chhattisgarh, which is actually very unique, because in Chhattisgarh also, if I'm not wrong, BJP government is there. Forest Department, they are catering to the demands of central government, where again BJP is there. So why BJP versus BJP is going on in Chhattisgarh? We are not interested in this political tussle. We are interested in what is going on in Chhattisgarh. Environmental perspective, very important. Environment is important from both pre as well as mains perspective. So here what has happened is, there is something known as CFR, Community Forest Resource Management Plans. Cool. What this Community Forest Resource Management Plan does, see, understand one thing. Whenever we talk about Forest Rights Act, whenever we talk about tribal people, we talk about three kind of land ownership. If you have read from me, you know where I'm going with this. One is individual ownership, land belongs to me. One is royal ownership, land belongs to, king, the king who used to rule earlier. And third is community ownership. Land belongs to us as a whole. So in tribal areas, in heavily forested areas, you still have this community ownership concept. Cool, sir. So now this whole CFR management plan, what they do is they ensure that these community forest resources, they are shared equitably among traditional forest dwellers, OTFD, other traditional forest dwellers, ST, scheduled tribes, how this whole thing is panning out. And they are trying to ensure that forests belong to the tribal people. Forest department is at the other end of the spectrum. They are like, no, we have to do scientific forestry. We have to ensure a lot of central government guidelines. This may remind you somewhat of, Britishers versus tribal people, Santhal, Hool, and this and that. This is not exactly that. We are not saying the forest department people, they are the Britishers and all those things. This is about how tribal people are perceiving this whole issue. Hope you are understanding. CFR means community forest resource. Very good, Rishi. Let's have a look at this issue. This issue will come again and again. You will understand each and everything. So what is the conflict what is the conflict here? The Forest Department of Chhattisgarh stalled efforts by its own government to impanel NGOs for preparing. Now see, state government, they allocated certain NGOs, non-governmental organization, that you will see how the things are going on in the forested areas, how forest resources are being managed by the local people. Again, local NGOs, they will look into it. Forest department are like, no, we cannot allow NGOs. Anyway, central government and, there are certain issues related to NGOs. You may have heard about it, how certain NGOs are funded by foreign entities, this and that. So, forest department said that, no, we don't want these NGOs to look into or execute community forest resource management plan. So, what has happened? State government, this forest department, they are not adhering to state government direction. So, this is actually very peculiar. Why forest department is doing it? Maybe central government directive came, and actually there were certain directives passed in 2020 and 2023, and forest department is saying that they are adhering to that. State government, again, same party. Why this whole thing is going on? This is actually a very tricky conundrum. So scheduled tribe, scheduled caste welfare, again you can see here, communicated the forest department stance to the Union Tribal Affairs Ministry seeking guidance. So now there is a confusion between state government and central government why this whole thing is happening and what issues they have with these NGOs. CFR management plan, you don't have to go into the intricacies, you don't have to go into the tricky part of these things. You just have to understand the basic tussle which is going on between state government and central government, and the tussle related to NGOs. NGOs are anyway there in GS mains paper 2. So CFR management plan aims to let forest dwelling communities sustainably manage forest resource, supporting both livelihood and conservation. So if you see this, CFR, they in a way support the traditional forest dwellers. On the other hand, it is actually perceived other way around for forest department people. They are like, no, they are not sympathetic towards the cause of traditional forest dwellers, and that's why maybe they are not supporting these NGOs who are working for the tribal people for CFR. Hope you're understanding some part of it. Even if you're understanding 20-30%, you will solve some questions, you will understand most of the things. Interdepartmental tussle. This is a part of broader conflict over forest control between local tribal communities, that is guided by CFR and NGOs, and state government and the forest department, which is mostly guided by the central government directives. So what has happened? May 15, forest department prohibited any, whenever you are reading forest department, just keep in mind central government prohibited any department or NGO from working in CFR areas, citing a 2020 circular assigning it coordination responsibility. So they are saying this is not your work, we will look into it, how things will pan out, how resources will be allocated. Timing and central scheme, all these things are happening. As you can see here, just as Tribal Welfare Department was about to finalize NGO partners. Now, Dharti Aba Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. It is an umbrella scheme related to tribal people, which has subsumed a lot of tribal welfare scheme. One of their work is also to ensure how this community forest reserves will be allocated to different dwellers who are there in these areas. Dharti Aba Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan. So again, it's a conundrum. Maybe central government is in a dichotomy right now. What to do with these NGOs who are there in Chhattisgarh? Chhattisgarh anyway is a Naxalite affected area. So there are so many things which central government has to think about. So maybe they are reconsidering certain stuff. So department referred to a March 2024 joint communication from Union Ministry of Environment and Tribal Affairs requiring all CFR plans to follow 2023 guidelines. Again, the whole premise is revolving around forest department following the directives of center, and this is creating a conundrum for state as well as the NGOs and the CFR plan in Chhattisgarh. Union Tribal Affairs Ministry plans to create model CFR plans aligned with National Working Plan. Again, you can read all these things. Now, department claims that until these model plans, so forest department in a way is trying to stop these NGOs from interfering in the CFR affairs of Chhattisgarh. That is what this whole article is talking about. State government is not understanding why this whole thing is happening, because both the ruling party at center and state, they are the same. Contradiction with 2023 guidelines. So 2023 guidelines, which forest department is talking about, there it is clearly written that CFR planning, etc., CFR planning and approval will be given to Community Forest Resource Management Committee. So in a way, what state government is currently doing, that is what is written in 2023 guidelines, but forest department is not listening to it. They are telling their own stuff. So forest department should only be consulted after Gram Sabha approval. So many people are feeling like this is not bottom-up model of governance, which is currently happening in Chhattisgarh. This is more of a top-down model. Something has been, talked to the forest department and they are saying all these things. Author is saying that Gram Sabha, bottom-up model of governance, traditional forest dwellers, NGOs, these people should be involved. Again, you can be at the both side. Like you can be either on forest department side, central government side, or you can be on the Gram Sabha CFR side. It's totally up to you. I'm just giving you the whole news, what this news is all about. Cool, sir. Dichotomy. Dichotomy is contradiction. Hope you understood some part of it. Again, we don't need to do PhD on this. This news will develop further. We will understand why this whole thing was happening. But this is important. Dharti Aba, and in subsequent Hindu analysis, we'll talk about this scheme more, like this particular Abhiyan scheme more. Right now, this issue I had to discuss. We'll have a separate, video on this. DAJUA. Let's try to solve this. Best possible option. What is this DAJGUA scheme related to? Digital empowerment, land distribution, implementation of community forest resource management plans, providing tribal artisan with market linkages. Contrast between two things. Very good, Sri Parna. Shriparna, Rishi, Mamta, Amal, Shashikala, Ravi Verma, Ravi. When they have given the answer. The answer is implementation of community forest resource management plans. Very good. Now MCQ 4. One of the most important article of today was related to GST. So there will be multiple questions on GST. Have a look at this. This will give you more conceptual clarity on input tax credit, which was a tricky word for you people. Very good. Ella Varshan. So, input tax credit. ITC allows a business to reduce the tax paid on outputs by the amount paid on inputs. Moving an item from 12% to 5% may lead to loss of ITC eligibility. All items under GST, regardless of rate, are eligible for ITC, that is income tax credit. Sriparna has given the answer for fourth question. So let's see. ITC allows a business to reduce the tax paid on output by the amount paid on input. That's what we have discussed. If you are paid, let's say GST 100 rupees on input, and again you are paying GST on output, that 100 rupees will be reduced if you are under tax, a 12% tax slab, right? So first is correct. If first is correct, you will eliminate B option. Now you are left with A, C and D option. Second, moving an item from 12, this is actually correct. This is also saying may lead to, and that's what we have discussed. If it leads to loss of ITC, input tax credit eligibility, in that scenario, prices of goods may increase. So second is correct. If second is correct, you are left with A and D now. All items under GST are eligible for ITC. If that would have been the scenario, second would have been wrong, right? Not all items. That's what we were discussing. 5% GST tax slab, there are most of the goods which are not eligible for ITC. So the answer is, third statement is wrong, and the answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Who stated it? So Ravi stated it, Sriparna, Amal, Rishi, Mamta and Jeevayana. Cool. Now next article, which is on page 8, explainer, and this sir here who has written this article, he was earlier in Indian Statistical Service, Registrar General something. So he is a very well read, well known, well educated, whatever you want to call it, K. Narayanan Uni sir. He has written this article where he has talked about caste census. We have talked about caste census earlier. There is another video which I have made earlier related to article 246. So we had a discussion on caste census. But here he is talking about the method related to caste census as well as census. What things we have to do better here. And there are certain aspects he is talking about. So if you again go back and watch Hindu analysis and article 246, you will realize that we have discussed that last caste census happened in 1931 census. 1931 census. Then even the caste census was tried in 1941 census, but because of World War II, it was not completed. So yes, if somebody says that caste census efforts were done in 1941 census also, so that statement is also correct. So now what this sir is saying, he's saying that again, even in the previous video which we have done on article 246, census, union list, caste census, we have talked about that, how many people are saying that caste census will, proliferate casteism, etc. But that author was saying that no, if you are giving affirmative actions, if you are giving reservation, you need to know and you need to have a proper data related to caste census or different castes, so to say. And caste census is a way of getting those data. That has happened in Bihar and Telangana, the state census, and that has actually helped us in knowing what is the actual reality of different castes in these states. Okay, sir. So now let's have a look at what this former Indian Statistical Service officer is saying. Central government has announced next census will take place in 2027. Now, there are different ways in which the census will happen. These phases are important. We will solve some questions on it, so you have to pay attention. For the first time since 1941, this is again a tricky part. What we have just are discussing, or we have discussed in the previous article. 1931 census, last census where caste census happened. What I just told you was even in 1941 census, caste census was tried. It started, but because of World War II, it was not completed. That's why they have written this. Okay, so how they will do this? Census in 2026, they will do the house listing. Different types of dwelling units, how many slums are there, this and that. They will do that first. And then they will do population enumeration, socio-economic data, including caste. Now the author, sir, he is saying that currently when you talk about caste-related data, you are confining yourself to scheduled caste and their data. You have to move beyond only scheduled caste data. You are talking about, it's not like only scheduled caste people, that is the only caste which is there. So you have to move beyond scheduled caste. That's what he is saying. So let's have a look at this. Last comprehensive caste data was from 1931. 1941 data was incomplete due to World War II. This is an additional information which you are getting in this article. Keep it in mind. We have changed the year as well, right? Now it's going to be 2022, then 2011, as 2019 was skipped. I'm missing some topics. Related to what, Krishi? Related to what? So government claims the move aims to mainstream marginalized communities. In the previous video which we have done on caste census, we have discussed currently the approach is top-down approach. We will move to rights-based approach when we have caste census. What is top-down approach? Since we don't have proper data after 1931 census related to caste, so it's all very outdated. Whatever information we have based on 1931 census, and that outdated model is working as a template for different kind of reservation. You have this caste census, you have all these data. So rather than someone from the top dictating how things will be done at the bottom, which is top-down approach, it will be rights-based approach, it will be data-driven approach when you have this caste census carried out. That's what author is also saying. But there are certain limitations which we will talk about. Issues 2021, draft questionnaire likely to be used, limit caste questions to SCs. So this what we have discussed, that caste question is not only confined to scheduled caste, there are other caste also, and you have to talk about them except the ST, scheduled tribe people. That's what author sir is saying. What else? Migration data often underreported or missed. Even there was another video which was there, the caste consensus, sir. Yes, I think so, Krishi. Change the year as well. It's going to be 2022, then 2011. Yeah, so it's 2011, 2021. So now 2021 is 2027, Krishi. So limitation in existing data collection is migration. There was another article and that was related to Bihar, how migration happens from Bihar, one of the largest state where migration happens, outward migration rather, and voting, how that thing will pan out. So again, the author is saying that migration data is also important so that we know where people are moving from, like what is the two, like source and destination location. Childbirth survival data, more than the census, National Family Health Survey, they conduct their survey, they have better data. So census has to learn from NFHS how to get data related to childbirth and survival. If you again go back to the article, this whole article, you will see something. You see how they carry out this. This was the state census, caste census, which was conducted in Telangana. So they go from place to place, as we have discussed, household enumeration, population enumeration, and that's how teacher is collecting data. So again, NFHS can give some idea to people who are conducting this census how to take data related to childbirth and survival. Again, okay, cool. Valuable data points for caste analysis, few indicators, education. Now, there are so many things which are there in the indicators. Author is saying that you can save some time. Whether you have phone or not, how many phones you have in your house, these things matter. Educational attainment, age at marriage, participation in economic activity. You just focus on these data. Rest, fictitious data, you can ignore and do away with it. That will save you some time. Outdated mobile phone, access to bank account. Now, because of JAM, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, mobile, almost everyone has bank account. So these questions are redundant, moot, remove it, we will save you time and the census will be more focused. Past census included some caste type data, they were underutilized in policy making. Again, hope that upcoming caste data will inform better policy. Again, this editorial, this opinion, whatever it is, explainer, this is an excuse so that we can remember. Census, Article 246 of Constitution, census comes under union list, education comes under concurrent list, health comes under state list, public order comes under state list. Remember, these are the key things. When was the last caste census conducted? What is the basic issue with caste? We have to pay adherence to whatever author is saying because he is a retired Indian Statistical Service officer and former Deputy Registrar General. So his words actually matter. Now let's solve some questions. MCQ 5. So consider the following statement regarding the upcoming 2027 census of India. The house listing phase will precede the population enumeration phase. Caste enumeration was last completed successfully in the 1941 census. The upcoming census will include information on caste for the first time since independence. So this is actually a tricky question. Census is the process of collecting and analyzing the population of the sub-country. Census is a union subject. Census Act 1940, central government is responsible. Very good, Rishi. So Amal, Ravi, Shashi, Rishi, all of you have given the answer. Yes, first statement is correct. House listing phase will happen in 2026 census and the population enumeration phase will happen in 2027. So first is correct. If first is correct, eliminate C option. You're left with A, B, D. Now what? caste enumeration was last completed successfully in no, it was not completed successfully. It was tried in 1941. It was not completed because of World War II. It was last completed successfully in 1931. So second is wrong. If second is wrong, this is gone. Now you're left with A and B. Upcoming census will include information on caste for the first time since independence. Yes, because the full information which we had on caste was 1931 census, and that is outdated now. So third statement is correct, and the answer is B, as stated by Amal, Ravi, Shashikala, Rishi, Elavasharan, Elavarasan. Oh my God, this is such a tongue twister name, but a cute name. Shriparna, Krishi, Mamta, Jivayan, Vin, and Vimal. MCQ 6. Why has the caste data from 1931 census become unusable for current policy making? It was never made public. It lacks detail on socio-economic indicators. It is too outdated to reflect present caste realities. It was conducted only for urban areas. Krishi, Amal, they have given the answer. The answer is it is too outdated to reflect present caste realities. Things have changed. Almost more than 90 years. We are nearing almost 100 years when the last caste census happened in 31 census. So yes, it's too outdated to reflect present caste realities as stated by Krishi, Amal, Shriparna, Jivayan, Vimal, Ravi Verma, Rishi, Alva, Saran, Alava, Mamta, Shashikala. Okay. Next article of the day. Kailash Mansarovar. Things are, reverting back to normal when it comes to India-China relationship. Now, a keyword here. Never ever write Indo-China relationship. Whenever you are talking about these issues, this is Sino-India relationship. This is not India-China. This is Sino-India. Why? Because Indo-China, when you say, Indo-China is a region which includes Vietnam, etc., which has incorporated attributes from both Indian culture and Chinese culture. So whenever you're talking about, this is about Sino-India relationship, Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, it has resumed after 6 years. People are talking. People at the top hierarchy in India and China, they are talking. This is actually good for us. The things which are also very good for us is the things related to Kailash, and Mansarovar Lake, Kailash Yatra. What is the significance of it? It has significance from Hinduism perspective, more so from Hinduism perspective, abode of Shivji and Parvati Mata. Then there is something called as Parikrama. When you are doing Parikrama of this Kailash Mansarovar, you rinse your sin and all those stuff. There are certain passes which are important. So there are certain keywords which are very important when you're talking about this particular issue. Very, very important from every exam perspective, especially UPSC. Art and culture. Plus, here, see, this is very interesting, this whole article. Why? Because GS1, art and culture, GS2, international relation, India-China, Sino-India. So, from both perspective. Cool, sir. So, resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra after 2019. So, almost 6 years. Significance, again, Mount Kailash and Mansarovar Lake are among Hinduism most sacred sites. So, what you do around Mount Kailash, you do parikrama. So if you do parikrama, you rinse away your sins. How do you rinse away your sins in Mansarovar Lake? You do dubki. You took, hope you understood where I'm going with this. This from art and culture perspective, awesome. This is also very important from diplomatic perspective. So this yatra marks the first people-to-people engagement between India and China. So this is actually a good thing, and we want normal relations to happen between India and China. And now if you see Kailash Mansarovar, you will see there Mount Kailash, and then below it on the downstream region, you will see Mansarovar here and Mount Kailash here. Mansarovar Lake, Mount Kailash. And then you will see certain things which are important from exam perspective. If my eyes are right, my eyes are also not that good. So there are certain passes. You see here Lipu Lake Pass. So these passes, what are the location of these passes? They are very important from Sino and Indo. Sino is China. Sino-India relationship, Sino is China. Indo is India. But when you say Indo-China, Sriparna, you are talking about a particular region. So that's why when we talk about relationship, we talk about Sino-India relationship. Okay, sir. So now, leaders' agreement decision was made during a meeting again. Big leaders at the top are involved in this whole discussion, in the resumption of this Yatra. High-level Indian visit to China, national security. Now, please understand one more thing. This whole Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. If I ask you, which is the nodal ministry which is involved here when you talk about organizing this trip to Mount Kailash and Mansarovar Lake, which is the nodal ministry involved here? I think we call Chinese Sino. Nah, Chinese. Yeah, exactly. We call Chinese Sino, Rishi. So, Sino-India relationship. So, please answer my question, sir and ma'am. This is important from exam perspective. They can give you that tribal ministry is involved in organizing expeditions and, tourists, all these cultural visit to Mount Kailash and Mansarovar. That is wrong. Tourism ministry is not involved. Ministry of External Affairs, they are having a look at this because this is not about, this is in China, this is in Tibet region. So, Ministry of External Affairs rather than tourism ministry is involved. So, again, very important, a tricky thing. Tourism, External Affairs, Ravi, External Affairs, MEA is involved here. So, leaders agreement, more mechanical, you can see here, high-level Indian visits to China, Ajit Doval, who many people love so much, we should, and Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Rajnath Singh, sir, yesterday we talked about him, Kadi Ninda and all those stuff, excessive criticism and everything, SCO meeting, Defense Ministers meeting, and again, people, if you have not watched yesterday's Hindu analysis, you can watch it. SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, headquarters is in Beijing, RATS, Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, 10 members of SCO, last member, Belarus. Okay, sir. So, pilgrim demographics, you can see all these things. Indian MEA coordinated, Ministry of External Affairs, not Tourism Ministry, not Defense Ministry. Nodal ministry is MEA, Ministry of External Affairs. Okay, sir. Peaceful atmosphere. Pilgrims reported no. Now, this is actually very Indo-China tensions again, right? Sino-India. They can do mistakes, you don't do mistakes. So, route details 15 Indian groups, 750. Now, this part. Nathula Pass from Sikkim, you can go to Kailash Mansarovar. Lipu Lake Pass from Uttarakhand, you can go to Kailash Mansarovar. Many people prefer Nathula Pass rather than Lipu Lake Pass. Many people feel like Lipu Lake Pass is more arduous. Again, arduous or not, important from exam perspective. Lipu Lake Pass, Nathula Pass. Which states? These are important. You have to keep them in mind. Yes, it has cultural significance. Parvati Mata, Shivji. Even it has significance from Buddhism, Jainism perspective. All these things are good, but keep it in mind from exam perspective. Have a look at this question. Consider the following statement regarding Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Mansarovar is the autonomous Tibetan region in China. Nothing is autonomous in China. It's in China, but yeah, I got the point, Krishi. Very well said. So, Yatra was resumed in 2025 after being suspended due to COVID-19 pandemic and India-China border tension. The pilgrimage site is located in Nepal near the India-China-Nepal Tri-Junction. Ministry of Tourism is the nodal agency for coordinating the Yatra. So, what are the things? I think Krishi gave the answer, Shashi, Shriparna, Elava, my dear friend, Jivayan, Rishi, Amal, Sanjana, Ravi. Okay. So, now, we know third statement is wrong. Ministry of Tourism is not nodal agency for coordinating this Yatra. External Affairs is. So, if third is wrong, again, this is a tricky question. You are still left with A, B and D. Pilgrimage site is not located in Nepal, bro. It's located in China. So, second is also wrong. Now, if second is wrong, we are getting the answer. One only, Yatra was resumed in 2025 after being suspended due to COVID-19. So, the answer is no. It's located in China, Mamta. Kailash Mansarovar, China. And that's why we need cooperation of China, and that's why it has resumed after 6 years. Now, Kora or Parikrama associated with Kailash Yatra refers to bathing in Mansarovar Lake for purification, a special mantra chanted during the Yatra, circumambulation of Mount Kailash by foot, offerings made to deities en route to Kailash. China. So, as Shriparna and Krishi, they are saying Kora, parikrama. If you know Hindi and if you may have heard this word when you read art and culture. So parikrama means what? When you get married, you do gumi 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 gumi. You know, you took 7 fairas and all those stuff. So that is also parikrama, circumambulation. When you go to temple, you want to go to Garbhagriha, which is the sanctum sanctorum. So again, you do gumi 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 around Garbhagriha. So this is circumambulation, kora or parikrama. So circumambulation of Mount Kailash by foot. That rinse away all your sins, and that's why people do it. So the answer is C. Cool. Now, I think yesterday Amal or somebody was asking, sir, please talk about emergency. So now what I should talk about when Honorable PM sir is talking about it. So now we will celebrate June 25, 1975, or rather than celebrating, we'll commemorate this whole thing. And Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Again, this is not funny, but the way, you know, Samvidhan Hatya Divas is written. So, what is your view on this whole thing? That June 25, 1975, when Indira Gandhi ma'am, you know, proclaimed emergency for next 21 months, that emergency thing, we'll talk about it. At that time, she introduced 42nd Amendment. At that time, she talked about that she is proclaiming emergency because of internal disturbance and all those stuff. So, now, Honorable PM Sir, Narendra Modi Sir, whom we all love and adore and have so much respect for, so he has said, and the ministry and cabinet has come forward, and they are commemorating June 25, 2025 as, you know, Samvidhan Hatya Divas. It looks, Samvidhan Hatya Divas, I don't like this. The Constitution Murder Day, it sounds somewhat better. But again, it's fine. So, what is your view on this Samvidhan Hatya Divas? Do you love this? Or let's come. Let me first of all tell you certain things related to emergency. So 42nd Amendment, and she proclaimed emergency on the grounds of internal disturbance. Then when like this emergency was lifted off after 21 months, election happened, Congress lost it, and there was a coalition government which was formed, and then they introduced 44th Amendment. They replaced this word internal disturbance with armed rebellion. So they they undo a lot of stuff which was done by 42nd Amendment, which was done by the emergency. During that time, Jayaprakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee sir, Lal Krishna Advani sir, many people were involved. Like Jayaprakash Narayan sir is the main figure, fulcrum around which the whole, you know, Sampoorna Kranti and different movements were revolving around. Emergency of 1975, it has a lot of causes, you know. Indira Gandhi ma'am's tussle with judiciary, around 1967, Naxal Badi movement, railway strike happened 1 year before, I think 1975, George Fernandez, he was leading it. So there were multiple reasons, multiple factors which played a crucial role in the emergence of emergency. Many people say that currently we are in an undeclared emergency. I don't agree with that because I love Modi sir, and even though press freedom index, our rank in press freedom index is very low, and most of the media, in the mainstream media, they don't criticize government much. We should criticize, but even then I feel like no, we are not in an undeclared emergency. This is a golden era in every regard. So now let's talk about all the other stuff. June 25, 1975. Now June 25 is Samvidhan Hatya Divas, Constitution Murder Day. Yes, I will take classes every day without halt, Madhu. For that, what you have to do is you have to like, share, subscribe, and share this video anywhere and everywhere, because it's all about demand and supply. The more you will demand of me, the more you will see of me. If you don't like demand, and those demands are being seen from your like, share, comments and views, so everything matters. You will see more of me if you want more of me. I'm talking like I'm a commodity, but in this materialistic world, everything is a commodity. Okay, let's focus here. So government resolution, you can see all these things. 2 minutes silence was observed by cabinet to pay tribute to victims of emergency, and we are with them. So official statement, where are we? So yes, official statement, Ashnavi Vaishnav sir, he said that now from this day onwards, June 25 will be known as Samvidhan Hatya Divas, Constitution Murder Day. Again, you can see all these things. Our Honorable PM sir is saying that we are committed to constitutional values. Emergency was a blatant violation of constitution. See, all these things are awesome. Somebody will say undeclared emergency, somebody will say this and that. From exam perspective, 42nd Amendment, why this emergency happened, internal disturbance, what particular amendment came to undo the works of 42nd Amendment, 44th Amendment. These things keep it in mind. Which particular day, June 25. So yes, dark chapter of in democracy, you can see this. Modi sir is very angry with this whole emergency thing. Widespread arrest happened, targeting the marginalized. At that time, I think forced sterilization also started. And so again, you cannot in any way justify emergency. And we are doing just that, and our honorable government is doing just that. And So yes, tribute to resistors. Again, you can see I'm not reading it. I have told you the basic gist behind it, and we are very, very thankful for to Honorable PM Sir for talking about Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Now let's solve some questions based on what we have just discussed. And again, we will do some add-on when we are solving these MCQ. In some people's opinion, we definitely gave more power to the center with the amendment. Did we? Maybe yes. We even curtailed the power of president. Right, Krishi? Discretionary power of president. Okay, so consider the following statement regarding emergency declared in 1975. It was declared under Article 356 of Indian... Okay, anybody has... They answered it. Amal has answered it. Jivayan. So, press freedom was curtailed. Obviously, if it is emergency, press freedom will be curtailed. General statement. So, second is correct. If second is correct, eliminate. Fundamental rights were suspended. Yes, they were suspended. So, third is also correct. Now, nothing is like getting eliminated. You have BCD. Emergency was triggered by external aggression. No, internal disturbance. And then later on, it was changed to armed rebellion. Because Indira Gandhi, ma'am, according to different political experts, because I have to live, they say that she misused it. She misused the provision of internal disturbance, and that's why it was changed later on to armed rebellion. So, not external aggression. Fourth is wrong. So, eliminate fourth. You are left with B and C. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's check first. Not 356, bro. 356 is President rule. 352. Right? So, first statement is also wrong. The answer is B, 2 and 3. Amal, Jivayan, Mamta, Sanjana, Ravi, Krishi, Elva, Shashikala. Sir, can you make short video in today's GST news explaining about only GST? I will try, Mamta. And Mamta, I have already... Okay, I will try, Mamta. I will try. Again, but what you can also do is you can have an exclusive look at what we have discussed in GST, because I taught this with so much heart today. I anyway give everything, but in every class, but yes, today's GST class, when I was even making notes and everything, I was loving it because I felt like there is so much to give to you people when it comes to news related to GST, GST Council, input tax credit and everything. So see this, MCQ 10, which constitutional amendment was enacted to prevent future misuse of emergency power? 42nd, 44th, 52nd, 73rd. Very good, Shriparna. Pay attention. Sometimes what can happen, if you don't read this question properly, you may feel like emergency, during emergency, which amendment was introduced. You may tick on 42nd amendment, mini constitution. They're not asking that. They're asking which constitutional amendment enacted to prevent future misuse. So that amendment was 44th. 44th tried to undo the things which were done by 42nd amendment. So the answer is 44th B. Who stated it? Amal, Jivayan, Vimal, Mamta, Rishi, Elva, Madhavi, Krishi, Shashikala, Ravi. Very good. Page 6, editorial, ISS, International Space Station. Shubhanshu Shukla, sir, multiple news have come. You know, he has become the first Indian to go to International Space Station. You may feel like, sir, how come he's first Indian? What about Rakesh Sharma and all those? So at that time, International Space Station was not there. So he got, Rakesh Sharma, sir, he went into an orbit in 1984. But Shubhanshu Shukla, sir, he's the first person to go to ISS. Now, in the previous videos, I have talked about Axiom 4 mission. We have talked about it. There we have discussed that Axiom Space, which is a private space company of US. And then you have Elon Musk company, SpaceX. They are involved here. And they are taking people to International Space Station. At that time, I said that NASA is not involved. I was not completely correct there because NASA has provided their space station from where these rockets will be launched, which will be carrying them to ISS. So in a way, you can say even directly, indirectly, NASA is also involved, but to a limited extent in this Axiom mission. The major player is Axiom Space and SpaceX. So things are going on. SpaceX, their rocket launchers, and maybe NASA will not use that, and other people will also not use that because Trump and Elon Musk, they are having some issues. Let's not go there. This article is not about what issues those guys have. The orange man and the Elon Musk thing. We are focusing on the Shukla part, and this whole thing is how it is different from Rakesh Sharma mission. Please understand this. Rakesh Sharma, sir, when he went to space, he went in a Soviet Union mission, and he was the first Indian. Even before Rakesh Sharma, who went into space, so to say, even before Rakesh Sharma, there were Indian origin people who went to space. But Indian origin, they were not Indians. Now you have Shubhanshu Shukla sir. So what is the difference? He went in a Soviet Union mission. Now Shubhanshu Shukla sir, he has went into a private mission. So these are different things. They are not exactly same, but different. So see, Sanjana, never ask other people their age and salary, because these things you should never ask. So my age is like, I am very young by heart, and that's it. So historic space flight on June 25, you can see IST is Indian Standard Time. Shubhanshu Shukla sir became the first Indian to go to orbital space since Rakesh Sharma, first Indian to go to ISS International Space Station. It was built in 1998 if I'm not wrong. Do check that out. So first Indian on ISS, that is what they're saying. Dragon crew capsule of SpaceX successfully docks with, again, if this happens, he will become the first. Oh my god, this has not indeed happened. So let's not get overexcited. He has not yet become the first Indian on ISS. He still has to reach ISS for that, and that will happen tomorrow. So let's control our enthusiasm till tomorrow. Mission objective, he will now. The author, see, there are multiple articles which are there in Hindu Indian Express related to Shubhanshu Shukla sir and all these things. So this editorial will give you a brief overview. So they are commemorating this whole thing. They are saying that this is a part of a bigger picture. A Gaganyaan mission will happen, where Indians will go to space, and that whole thing will be done by Indians only, maybe with some help from Soviet Union or Russia, so to say now. But this sir here, Shukla sir, he will be a part of Gaganyaan mission also, scheduled for 2027, which was earlier scheduled for 2022, 75th Independence Day. So all these things. No, Rishi, it's totally fine, bro. It should be chilled, We should not be all serious. This is a big, long discussion. So we should have all these talks. I was just joking. You can interfere in my personal matter. So where were we? First Indian ever on, again, mission objective. So now, one thing which we have to understand, sir will be a part. I'm not saying it's a probability, high probability that sir will be a part of Gaganyaan mission. And for that, we need to know how this whole thing works, and that's why Shukla sir is going to space. But the author is saying that there is some amount of lack of transparency. ISRO and Department of Space, they have not clearly communicated why they have given so much money, 548 crore for Shukla sir's seat. We love it, we welcome it, but we need some more clarity on what else will be done. Yes, it will provide experience and insight into human space flight. We need it for future Gaganyaan program, which will be 20,200 crore in 2027. But what more is Shukla sir going to do? Maybe that's a internal thing, and maybe that is not to be divulged. But yes, we are very happy about it, and as it happens in any article, you have to know the pros and cons. So there are so many people who will only talk about the pros thing. Shukla sir will go there, Gaganyaan mission, this and that. You also have to talk about the cons, and this is the cons. We don't know much about the information, things why he is going there, what is the bigger picture all about, apart from Gaganyaan thing. Okay, sir. So again, you can see here, human space flight have evolved significantly. More and more private players are getting involved. Not only in US, you are talking about SpaceX, XGM Space. Even in India, different private players are emerging. But yes, again, the author is saying that ISRO should do more, to promote more private players. They are not enough. We need more and more private players to reduce pressure on ISRO, so to say. We should be excited, sir, hoping for the very best for Gaganyaan. Very good. I can understand, Sanjana. Oh my God. So yeah. So concerned over, again, you can see here, they are talking about fight between Musk and Trump. Trump fights with anyone and everyone. He's an orange man, tariff man. Okay. With due respect to Trump, sir. India's space strategy must adopt, again, you can see here, private sector involvement, as is happening in US, XGM Space, SpaceX, etc. In India also, private space is emerging. It's expanding. But there is still a lot to do, and we have to be proactive in that regard. ISRO has to be proactive in that regard. ISRO must focus on next big challenge, improve transparency. So again, the author is saying that we need to know more. What is the more, what are other objectives, so that we can have a more clear picture. Again, you understood where we are going with this. Let's solve MCQ 11 of the day. Why are you crying, Krishi? Which of the following is true about Article 352 of Indian Constitution? It deals with precedent rule in states. It allows declaration of emergency due to failure of constitutional machinery. It allows proclamation of emergency due to war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. It provides for financial emergency. Very good, Mamta, Amal, Jivayan, Shriparna, Rishi, Rahul. So the answer is C. It allows proclamation of emergency due to war, external or armed rebellion. Internal disturbance has been changed to armed rebellion. C. MCQ 12. Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Constitution Murder Day refers to day of adoption of Indian Constitution, day of suspension of fundamental rights in 1962, the day emergency was lifted in 1977, the day emergency was declared in 1975. They can give you this. You may be like, sir, this is an English class. Why have you written Samvidhan Hatya Divas? UPSC in English, they have written Rashtriya Garima Abhiyan relates to what? So these kind of questions can come. Sometimes they will not even give you the English translation. So you have to be ready for these. So what is Samvidhan Hatya Divas? The day emergency was declared in 1975. Very good. MCQ 13. Shubhanshu Shukla, who recently flew to ISS, or he will be going there tomorrow, reaching there tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Tomorrow, today only, 26th is today, right? So is most like, oh my god, I'm stammering, is most likely to play a key role in which upcoming Indian space mission? Aditya 11, Chandrayaan 4, Gaganyaan, Shukrayaan 1. So who has written the answer? Shriparna, Rahul, Bimal, Amal, Rishi, Sanjana, Mamta, Madhavi, Jiva and Rishi. Hello. Cool. So the answer is Gaganyaan. Earlier scheduled for 2022, now deferred to 2027, right? Let's keep our fingers crossed. 2027 is the year. You know, smart city mission, this and that, they keep on getting deferred. Not very good for us. But again, these things happen. Which of the following statement correctly differentiate between Rakesh Sharma's and Shubhanshu Shukla's space mission? Rakesh Sharma went to ISS while Shubhanshu Shukla went to Mir. What is Mir? Rakesh Sharma flew with Soviet Union. Shukla flew on a private commercial mission. Both flew abroad. ISRO developed launch vehicles. Both missions were uncrewed test flights. So what is the answer here, sir and ma'am? Some people have come and started teasing me in the class. So Mamta, Amal, Rishi, Shriparna, Madhvi, Rahul, Vin, Sanjana, Amal. Shashikala, Krishi, Jivayan. Cool. So the answer is Rakesh Sharma flew with Soviet Union. Shukla flew on a private commercial mission. Axiom Space, SpaceX. All these people are involved in this Axiom 4 mission. So as we have discussed earlier, like, share, subscribe, spread it far and wide, because as we have discussed, we all are commodities. I am also a commodity. So whether you will see me more and more in this Hindu analysis or not depends upon the engagement part. You know, we have to go to 100 live, 200 live one day, and inshallah we will. So again, yeah, do share it, and again, the more you do that, the more you will see of me. That is the basic premise here. Cool, sir and ma'am. And I will share this particular PDF along with the answer of all the, I think, how many questions we have done today? This is the highest we have done, right? 14 questions. So 14 questions, their answer in this Telegram channel of mine. Fun Study with Shubh, because study should be fun. Very good. Also, sir and ma'am, you can post your score in the comment section, whatever are your score out of those 14 questions, whatever you got correct. Hopefully, all of you got all the questions correct, and that is the aim. Roger that, Sergi. Very good win. And yes, sir, morning batch. Again, let's try to understand. Maybe there are some people who like you people are at an advanced stage, you have already prepared everything. Let's say there are some people whom you know who are facing issues with UPSC preparation for 2026. They're planning to give it next year. You can tell them to join our morning batch. And I think the batch is closing on 30th June 2025. If let's say you don't like this course, if let's say you face some issues here, you will get the refund. And sometimes what happens, you see this easy refund, you see my face here, so cute, so easy refund, no question asked. So this is actually a good thing. See, sometimes people will tell you that there will be refund. Nobody will write it explicitly. We are writing it explicitly. That means we mean it. So you can use my code SHS Live. You can get it at very discounted price. You know the process if you have watched my earlier Hindu videos, how to join this particular class. I will again show it to you because that's my work. Like, that is what I'm paid for. Oh my God. No, this is actually for those people who actually need some help in streamlining your preparation. So you will go to studyiq.com and you will go to all languages. You will go to English. And this is the batch I'm talking about. This is 2026 batch, and this one is the long-term batch for 2027 people who will be giving it in 2027. You may feel like, who plans that long, sir? People does, and you should when you're preparing for UPSC. This exam needs their own sweet time. So this easy refund, no question asked thing is there in both the 2026 and 2027 batch. Obviously, the price of 2027 batch will be higher. That you can see here. You can go to buy now, and you see the prices here. You may see slight difference in prices that will come down when you will apply the code. You can see best value 31,999. You know the procedure. Here there is add promo code. You will use my promo code. Obviously, who else? SHS Live. You will put apply. You see the price has reduced to 24,999. And then if you have any more queries related to this course, you can call on this particular number. Any query related to anything. So yeah. Live classes, lecture notes, one-to-one mentorship, everything is there. So you don't have to do anything apart from this particular batch, My Hindu Analysis, and mocks, and more mocks. So you can see here, prelims residential program, mains residential program. You should aim for this. Once you clear pre, aim for this mains residential program, which is going on right now. This is actually a good thing because you are studying with people who will be writing mains with you, and it's all like fully concentrated study. You become the average of 5 people you surround yourself with. I keep on telling people that. And yeah. And what else? Did I tell you everything? Any query, sir? This is the number. I'm telling it again and again. This will be actually helpful to you. Okay, sir. My name. Any queries? Anything? I came late to class, but next time will be on time. Yes, do Krishi, like be on time and spread it, as I've said earlier. Like, share, subscribe, do everything. There was one video where I said there was a sir. He was so angry. Toko like and this and that. It felt like he will come out of the screen and kill you people if you don't do that. Oh my God. Thank you, Ravi. My name is Shubh. Shubham Sagar, but I prefer people calling me Shubh, SHUBH. I will try, Mamta. I will try, man. Mamta, there are so many engagements. Thank you, Alva. So make a special video on privatization of space. Loved it. Thank you. Thank you, Shanmugam. I'll try, yaar. Please. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Then I'm gone now. I will see you people tomorrow. Take care. Be blessed. Tata. Bye-bye. Thank you, Amal.